I think there is something to talk about. So let's talk about it with Jenna Laine, who covers the Buccaneers for us. Jenna, we're 1 week in, and already we have this going on. What are you seeing as you're there every day in the relationship early on between Brady and Arians?
Yeah, Greeny, I've had a lot of folks express to me concern that there could be potential friction between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians after Arians' comments post-game. I've gotten no indication of any such friction. I describe their relationship as a healthy one. I've also gotten no indication that Tom Brady wants to be handled with kid gloves. I think we all kind of tried to after the game, but he told me, hey, I've lost games before. I've got to play better. I think the difference here is the fact that everything is out in the open. Tom Brady is used to hard coaching, but he's not used to it being made so public. Bill Belichick kept everything close to the vest. But with Arians, he's already told us before, yeah, I cursed Tom Brady out for throwing the ball in a walkthrough. He's told us before, yeah, Rob Gronkowski needed to come to training camp in better shape. He's got to get in better shape. He told the media in Arizona, Calais Campbell should have had 5 sacks and not just 3. So anybody that plays for him knows that he is going to be very open and honest with the media, and he's going to tell them exactly what's on his mind. I would also say this. This is a locker room where you don't have to worry about losing the players' confidence in the quarterback. These are players that grew up with posters of Tom Brady on their walls. And so when Arians is critical of him publicly, these guys are going to step up all around him. They're going to do whatever it takes to protect him.
Jenna Laine, great to have you back this week. Thank you very much, and we'll see you after they play week 2, which obviously will create a lot of conversation. And so I want to go to DWoods because we did touch on this a little bit earlier this morning, but without the perspective there, which I think was important, and we did not have your perspective. You played with Tom at the very beginning of his career. What do you make of this and Brett Favre jumping in the middle of it? What do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, I think coaches handle quarterbacks very differently. I think Brett Favre is speaking to that, just the way that maybe how coaches in Green Bay for most of his career handled him. Anyone that's been in New England knows that Tom Brady has been in a 20-year mental meat grinder. Literally every practice, every meeting, every game, Bill Belichick pushes you through the mental gymnastics that makes most players uncomfortable. And Tom has the highest expectations of himself. Now, the difference is Bruce Arians, he'll air it out to everyone to hear. But if you think that Tom Brady is going to get sensitive off of the things that Bruce Arians say to the media, then you don't know Tom Brady. This is the same guy who was a 6th-round pick, 199th pick, and still plays with a chip on his shoulder. So nothing that Bruce Arians is going to say is going to tick Tom Brady off or it's going to make him fall apart emotionally.
Okay, I like that. The counter to that, I guess, is that it was my perspective that at least one of the reasons he left New England was because he was tired of being criticized all the time by his coach, and now here he is being criticized by his coach. Louis Riddick, let me ask you your perspective. When you hear Brett Favre say he may be barking up the wrong tree, what do you think?
Yeah, I get where Brett's coming from. And, Greeny, I also get where you're coming from as far as, you know, the talk about did Tom want to go have a change at this point in time in his career because he wanted to be approached differently. He wanted to be corrected differently. He wanted to have more input on game plans. He just wanted a different feel, a different environment around him. And most people go, well, that can't be the kind of environment he wanted. He can't surely have said, I want to go down to Tampa Bay so Bruce Arians can talk to the media about how I didn't play well. I don't think that's what people had in mind, you know, for Tom Brady. And I think that's what's kind of catching us all by surprise here a little bit. Like, whoa, is this going to be sitting well with the guy who's won 6 Super Bowls and played in 9 of them? Is that the kind of change that you were looking for? But I think Damien also is onto something here, which is this is probably one of the most mentally resilient players, despite the fact that he's had so much success. One of the most mentally resilient, tough players that this game has ever seen, simply because Tom made himself into who he is. Nothing was given to him. And obviously, Bruce isn't giving him anything down there either. He's giving it to him straight and giving it to him honestly. And that's something that he has been used to his entire career. I can speak to those mental gymnastics, Woody. I remember them like they're yesterday. I haven't played pro football in a long time, almost 21 years. And I still can remember some of those meetings and some of the demands that Bill places on you like it was simply this morning, like it was just a couple hours ago. So, I mean, I get it. He's not going to crack this is good conversation, though, as far as, is this what we really expected to hear out of Bruce Arians in the relationship concerning Tom Brady? I think what we really want to see now is how's Tom going to react to this in week 2? How's the team going to react to it in week 2? Because that's where the conversation is going to come back to. Can he help this football team win and get them to the playoffs? Because it's either playoffs or bust with this team. It's simple as that. It's playoffs or bust. Otherwise, was any of this worth it?
Neek.
Why you might think that maybe he doesn't want to be talked to like this by Bruce Arians, but there's a difference between the situations in New England and the situation down in Tampa. Bruce Arians may be publicly saying that he's not playing well, but Bruce Arians also has given him 2 Pro Bowl receivers, 2 Pro Bowl caliber tight ends, and a bunch of running backs. So it's a little different if someone's criticizing you on one end and also giving you everything you ever dreamed of on the other end. If you think back to how he was in New England last season, he was getting probably criticized and ripped apart in those meetings and privately, and then going out on the field and looking around and saying, but I don't got no help. So I think it's a little easier for him to be able to accept Bruce Arians' criticism. And I think he also knows, like, he's tough mentally. He knows that Bruce isn't really talking to him. Bruce is talking to the rest of the team and using him to do so, because that message rings loud and clear in that locker room when he says Tom isn't doing what he has to do. It's a lot louder than if he comes out there and picks some offensive lineman or receiver and says they need to get better.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.